A commanding win for the Boston Celtics in Game 5, 111-89 over the Toronto Raptors. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Jimmy Toscano, Josue Pavon, and Bobby Manning. From the jump, this was Boston's game. Played with so much purpose, so much energy, and one guy who brought that start to finish was Jaylen Brown, which included that monstrous highlight reel dunk. How impressed were you with his leadership this game?
Let's start with that one because that shut the game down. Three things. It capped a big run. It ended OG Anunoby's night, and he's been someone who's hurt the Celtics in the series.
Maybe his career.
For the rest of this, yeah. We'll see the lasting effects of that play. But it was an epitome of the game. Tice blocks a guy on one end. Brown finishes in commanding fashion, and Smart set it up. Those are three guys that struggled immensely in Game 4, bounced back here, and Brown led it all with the early three-pointer, scoring throughout this game, his work on Siakam as he's done throughout the series, and this all happened in the first half. They did everything they needed to by halftime to where you didn't even have to watch the third and fourth. If you're just catching this to rewatch the game and get some notes, don't even watch the second half because it was a joke after that point. And this was a shameful effort by Toronto, by the way.
Yeah, that dunk certainly got things going for the Celtics, but they had things going even before that. And Jaylen Brown, I feel like he was taking his time a bit in that first half, or at least he was being aggressive. I shouldn't say taking his time. He was certainly being aggressive, but we saw he didn't get discouraged when his shots weren't falling, and that was the case in the very beginning. You got to give Celtics a credit again for what they're doing defensively in transition. I think that really got things going, opened the floor a bit. Huge second quarter. I love Brad Stevens' decision to go with his best three players to start that second quarter. Jaylen Brown was in there as well. Kemba Walker, Tatum, they never took their foot off the gas pedal. And the Toronto Raptors did what they've been doing all series. They outscored the Celtics in the third quarter. But fortunately, because of what happened in that second quarter and because they were able to set the tone the way they did, it didn't really matter.
Yeah, credit to Jaylen Brown, credit to the Celtics. I was very interested to see how this Celtics team was going to come out in this game because of how poorly they played in Game 4. So to see Jaylen Brown come out, hit that first shot, it was kind of like a little exhale there, and then to see, I thought Kemba Walker had a great game start to finish, sort of commanding the play out there, and Marcus Smart, and we haven't mentioned him yet, Daniel Tice. I mean, that center position has been so huge for the Celtics. When Tice is on his game, I feel like the Celtics just take it to that other level because you could say that's probably their weak spot if matchups aren't going their direction. But when Tice is on, I mean, you saw the type of game that he can give you and the production that you can get from him, not on offensive but on the defensive end. I thought him and Marcus Smart defensively were just as important as Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker were offensively.
Yeah, and from the start, I thought this also really showed a lot of mental toughness from the Celtics because all the momentum in this series was swaying in Toronto's favor. Although since Game 1, Celtics definitely didn't put together their best game, and it was way closer to that tonight, even though Jason Tatum wasn't super efficient. It's just solid, but definitely not a notable night by any means for arguably the best player on the team. And to still be able to command such a lead throughout this entire game was impressive. How pleased were you with the hot start, but how concerned are you still with their third quarter struggles? They had wiggle room this game, but in Game 6, do you think that they're going to need to string together a full all four quarters to be able to pull this thing off and avoid the 7 game?
Yeah, the third quarter was a problem here, but the gap was so large at that point that, as you said, it didn't matter all that much. I was concerned about the second quarter when they had a 14-point lead. I felt like they didn't build enough of a lead to withstand a punchback by Toronto, so they rotating to their bench. As Josue said, they left some key guys in there, which was important. But I see Grant at center. I see Wanamaker out there, and all of a sudden I'm questioning, is that Ibaka pop out and three-pointer going to hit them? They gave them an open one early and he missed it, hit a few later. So those rotations are still a questions for me. Rob Williams doesn't appear a ton in this game. It looks like Grant Williams has the favor over him, which worries me because that's where the rebounding continues to be an issue. So the Celtics answered a ton of questions in this one out of Game 4 with shot making, especially in that second quarter. Tatum, Wanamaker, drilling shots. But the interior, the big man questions we have, that's still something that I think will ultimately be settled in Game 6 and tell the tale of the series.
Yes, yeah. I think the third quarter is going to be really important for the Celtics in this game. And here's why. The Toronto Raptors scored 11 points in the first quarter. 11 points in the first quarter. And almost all of them went to OG. I mean, OG pretty much scored all of their points in that first quarter. Historic low for the Raptors. They're not going to do that again. So this one in the third quarter is going to be really important for the Celtics because I expect the Raptors to maybe not jump out to the kind of start that we saw from the Celtics, but maybe something similar. Maybe they jump out to a 7-point lead heading into the second or something to that nature. And the third quarter is going to be really important for the Celtics. And I think that's when you should turn to Jason Tatum, or I should say Brad Stevens should turn to Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum's going to have himself a really big night, but I would like the Celtics to see them sort of set him up. You know, we've seen Jason Tatum sort of by design start to have these big nights like we saw in game one. I think this time it would be beneficial for him to get set up a bit. You know, I still like his chances in these matchups, whether it's Siakam or OG in front of him. So why not play it more often than we've seen, or at least that we saw in game 5. So expect for Tatum to have a big night and to get a lot more attempts in game 6 for sure.
This is where I want to see if the Celtics have that killer mentality, right? Because it's going to be the second half of a game where the Raptors are on the brink of extinction. I'll say that, the brink of extinction.
There you go.
And I want to make sure that thank you. And I want to see if the Celtics have that killer instinct, killer mentality, because they didn't in game 3. We saw what happened there. So I want to see how the Celtics come out. The third quarter in game 4, I'm losing track of my games. In game 5,
it's like every day, man.
Means absolutely nothing because they were up by so many points already. It's impossible in the NBA to keep a lead, of that amount. It's just a matter of time before the other team's going to come up with a few points. But you were nervous though, right? And Celtics fans who have watched this team all season are nervous for a reason because it's been.
I
so
got
many
nervous
examples.
when it went to 19.
You did. You did tweet that. With 7 minutes left in the fourth, you were nervous. Which, honestly, though, if you've seen this team play, they've lacked that killer mentality where they can stretch a 20-point lead to a 30-point lead. Instead, it goes from 20 to 10. So I'm going to be interested to see if they can do it.
Well,
and to piggyback on that real quick, sorry, Sarah, not to cut you off, but Toronto Raptors, this is kind of what they do, right? This is their identity. They erase big deficits really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They're best in the NBA doing that.
Okay.
For all of our Celtics playoff coverage, you can find it on our website at clnsmedia.com and on our YouTube channel at Celtics All Access.